Hey, by the way, are you familiar? You mentioned cleaning your bags with the bidet. Are you aware? No, this is a serious question. Are you aware that there's like now these ones that have like they warm things? They have warm water, cold water, jet, front, back, like for women. The whole like. Are you familiar with the fact that they do this?
I am now.
Yes, they have like the super bidet. I rented a house once, like you do a VRBO, you rent a fucking nice place, and it had the very, very fancy toilet, and it felt like you could make a mistake with it. You know, you know what I mean? Like that's what it felt like. It had like a touchpad, and I was like, shit, I don't want to press the wrong button. With the current situation. Like, what if it's got like a button for a tampon remover or something, and that's what you press?
God. All right.
I'm just saying, as a man, that's a scary button. Anyway,
remover would not be the problem, Jax. A remover would not be the problem in that situation.
I suppose either direction on that particular item would be a problem. Thank you so much.
Yeah, more of an exit fan myself than an entry fan. Sights and sounds and edges found. You will now get down with the Underground, the show that goes to the depths of the Dynasty landscape. Dynasty Underground is back in your life. I am Trav. I am hosting and West Coasting, getting in the lab with the boys after week 2, getting ready to roll into week 3. And the boys are, of course, the wise man, one Jax Falcone. We buzzing tonight or what, brother? We are in the middle of the second Monday night football game as we record this right now.
Yep.
How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, I was gonna mention we are not fully aware of the second half of the Raider Charger game. So if anything crazy happens, that'll probably happen live. But other than that, the week is behind us, and lots to talk about, eh?
So much to talk about. Hey, you just dropped an A at the end of that, and I would just like to give a little bit of love. Maybe the Canadian is rubbing off on you a little bit, and I just love to hear that, fella. Yeah. And of course, in the corner office, but the view is blocked off with the blinds tonight. Maybe a bit of a somber mood with how the Raiders are playing currently. Sorry, Joe, to throw that one on your plate before I intro you here, but maybe aside from that, how are you feeling post week 2, sir?
You're not going to get any A's from me, but you might get a few F's the way the Raiders are playing right now. And, I'm tilting. I don't know about this recording while games are still happening. I'm about to lose some fantasy matchups. I'm honestly stressed out and very distracted. We'll see how this goes.
I like Great this. Idea. I like that we can watch him tilt in real time. This is good.
It's going to be incredible. And I'm going to try not to keep my eyes on that game, but I will absolutely be watching. And if there's any good Raider stuff happening, I'll make sure I perk you up a little bit, Joe, just to lift the spirits a little bit, Joe. We're going to have a good episode tonight, guys. We're going to talk rookie heat checks. We're going to do a little trend spotting. But Joe, much like you and your Raiders, we got some problems that we got to cover first. And we have probably more than we could cover in this show, but we have a few choice ones right now that are a little bit stuck in our craw. And the first problem we have, Joe, is Kaleb Johnson. All I was thinking, I texted you guys in the group chat when he muffed that kickoff and just walked away nonchalant while it was a live ball. I just said, Kaleb, no, because it felt like I was just like watching him stretch further and further and further away from fantasy relevance. Were you feeling similar, Joe?
I mean, I don't think there's a bigger Kaleb backer and believer than me. So yeah, that basically ruined my day. I mean, like, I don't even know what he was thinking. It's like, all right, there's all these new kickoff rules. He's come from college, but it doesn't matter what the rules are. At any point in your football upbringing, like, a kickoff is live, right? And there's, onside kick rules and what have you, right? But also, if it's like punt return rules and you touch the ball, it's also live. Like, there is no form of football where that's not a live ball. So I mean, this is just one of those brain farts. Like, I don't know. I think he's doghoused into the upside down. Like I don't know when we're going to see Kaleb Johnson. It's now going to take injury. So yeah, I'm tilting, guys. I'm fucking tilting.
Yeah.
Sorry to lay all this on you so early in the show, by the way, Joe.
While the Raiders are losing, why you got to start with that?
Boy, I ain't got much to add. Like this is great. I feel like I'm watching this show with you guys here, you know, with the audience. This is great. Ask him some more questions. This is fantastic.
We'll see him in November, all right?
He's already dead. He's already dead. Yeah, I think
he's a buy. All right, how about that? How's the actual advice?
There we go. See, I was waiting for the dynasty analysis so I could jump in here because I really didn't want to dogpile on him. But is he a buy?
I think he's only a buy, if anything. You know what I mean? I don't think you're selling him right now. So I think he'd be a difficult buy because the person who would be selling him just drafted him, may have had the expectations that we had, Joe. So I think he'd be a tough buy. But if anything, he's a buy or a hold.
Yeah, so if you're like a rebuilding team, like say you got a couple veteran running backs, like, and you could sell them to the team that has them, you know, who's trying to compete now and has no use for Kaleb Johnson and his brain fart shenanigans.
I like that. I like that. I like if you're gonna be a buyer, I think that's the way to be a buyer. You know, I had my show today, the Undrafted. You may have heard of it. And you know, I had Danny Kelly on from The Ringer. He's fantastic. This subject came up and we got to a conversation where it got me to thinking about something that Scott Connor had said on Twitter one time. And he said, right after Kendre was drafted, Kendre Miller, early in his rookie year, he said, sell Kendre for a second immediately. And I was like, I piped up and I caped up for my boy Kendre. And I said, what are you, crazy, Kendre? All purpose, awesome, 220 pounds, great profile, the whole 9 yards. I come in with all that nonsense. And then it turns out historically he was right. And process-wise, he was right too. I think sometimes when we see these players, we want to hold on. But if you could sell I said Kendre. If you could sell Kaleb for 2 seconds, is basically what I said. Like if you sent Kaleb to all the managers in your league for whatever 2 seconds they have, you kind of want one of them to hit the smash button on that.
Yeah, I suppose so. You're probably right. I'm emotional right now, so yep. I'm going to remove myself from this analysis any further. What would you buy him for, I guess, is my question.
Yeah, well, that's what
I think you laid it out, though. I think you laid it out, though, Joe, with the buying him for a veteran running back on a team that is over the hill. I think that's actually the right buy. I hadn't considered that. I really don't think otherwise you shouldn't be utilizing picks to buy Kaleb Johnson at this particular point at all.
Yeah.
No, it should be like a Kyron Williams for Kaleb Johnson and a second or something like that, or maybe even go a little bit lower, like even maybe like a Chuba or maybe an Alvin Kamara type deal. Tier down with Kaleb as the rebuilding piece and get yourself more picks. I see that for sure. Because like a Josh Jacobs doesn't do much on your roster if you're a rebuilding team, right? So interesting conversation.
When's he going to stop? When's he going to stop?
That's no doubt. Hey, he just continues. He just continues, and they are just battering him into defenses week after week, and he holds up, man.
He's been snapping me with L's since the beginning of his career, man. I'm taking L's off him for a long period of time. He's so good.
Mm-hmm. So another rookie running back, boys, who's having a bit of a tough time getting snaps. He's got a bit of a problem too, by way of Tyler Batty, and that would be RJ Harvey. Why is he not getting more snaps? We saw a little bit of pop in week 1. J.K. Dobbins took the lion's share in week 2. And then we saw the Batty get some fine ass targets this week. What's going on there, boys?
It's bidet.
Is it? Is it actually?
Yes.
Batty's way better.
I think that kind of maybe pronunciation. Yeah. He's changed it a few times.
Where's the A in that? It's an IE, buddy. Figure it out. He has no idea what he's talking about.
The fact that he changed his name from meaning a hot ass bitch to a toilet accessory that cleans your asshole, I think is an L.
That's a major L, dude. An
That's an L.
absolute L. The nickname
Yeah.
possibilities go from like 60 to 0. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want nicknames around a bidet, buddy. Come
No.
on. He
No.
fucked up. He fucked
Yeah,
up.
he fucked up.
What's going on
I
here?
think with RJ Harvey, I have a little bit more patience than I do with Kaleb Johnson by quite a bit. We've seen some things from him, obviously, that, you know, he's made big plays. We haven't seen that from Kaleb Johnson, you know. So, I mean, the fact that he's getting on the field, the fact that, you know, I think Sean Payton is the bane of many fantasy managers' existence over the years, not just, you know, right now, but this has been an issue lately with Sean Payton with the wide receivers. We'll get to them a little bit later in the program, folks. But yeah, I think that's mainly the issue here. I don't think it's an RJ Harvey isn't going to get on the field this year. I don't think it's an RJ Harvey is a problem in this locker room. I'm good to go with RJ Harvey. Hang on and let it ride.
Yeah. Yeah. The big thing is this. It's just like the utilization, right? So Bidet was in on 27% of the snaps, and even worse than that, 27% of the routes. So that really nukes Harvey for as long as Dobbins and or Bidet are healthy. If that
we can't call him Bidet. I mean, as much as that's his actual name, we can't do it. We have to stop doing it. Yeah, we call him Batty on this program. When you say it, it sounds stupid. Like,
you're right.
What's this guy doing? His name is Batty.
All right, I need a bidet after what happened to my bags this weekend.
Yeah. You can clean your bags with them too. Yeah. That's technically easy enough to do.
Anyway, it's tough to start RJ Harvey right now, except in deep leagues, you know. So, like, I don't know. I kind of have a larger point here, which is, as excited as we get about these rookie running backs, and we do it every year, like, this is also why simultaneously we buy cheap veterans like the Chubbs and the Dobbins and the Javantes, right? We get those to pair along with our rookies. It's like almost like the mid-career guys, unless you've got like a true superstar, is kind of what we don't have in a lot of the cycle, right? You go get those guys when you're really ready to compete, and the rest of the time you're kind of floating between Javantes and Harveys.
Yeah. No, it's good. And man, boys, with Joe's vibes right now, I'm not sure this "We Got a Problem" segment was the right one to start off with. Hey, we gotta dig our mans out of this hole we put him in here.
It's ugly. Hey, by the way, are you familiar? You mentioned cleaning your bags with the bidet. Are you aware? No, this is a serious question. Are you aware that there's like now these ones that have like they warm things? They have warm water, cold water, jet, front, back, like for women. The whole like. Are you familiar with the fact that they do this? Did you guys know this?
I am now.
You just found that out? Yeah. You both just found out. I'm telling you for the first time.
Yeah.
Yes, they have like the super bidet. I rented a house once, you know, like you do a VRBO, you rent a fucking nice place. Those of you who are renting VRBOs and staying in shitholes, why would you do that? Like, it's obviously more to stay in a nice place, but you're on vacation. Get a nice place. So anyway, I stayed at this place and it had the very, very fancy toilet. Very fancy toilet. And it felt like you could make a mistake with it. You know what I mean? Like that's what it felt like. It had like a touch pad, and I was like, shit, I don't want to press the wrong button, you know, with the current situation. Like, you know, what if it's got like a button for a tampon remover or something, and that's what you press?
God. All right.
I'm just saying, as a man, that's a scary button. Anyway,
remover would not be the problem, Jax. A remover would not be the problem in that situation.
Yeah, I suppose either direction on that particular item would be a problem. Thank you so much.
Yeah, more of an exit fan myself than an entry fan, but
pretty
so
awesome.
to keep Joe's vibes down, we're gonna roll over to Cincinnati because they got a bit of a problem as well, boys, and that would be Joe Burrow is now going to be out for at least a few months, potentially most of the season. I'm not maybe up on the latest to the hour report, boys, but it does not look good. Jake Browning had a really nice performance in relief this past week in beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think for this one, Jax, the thing that comes to my mind is something that we were preaching throughout the entire offseason. Get those backup quarterbacks who are an injury away from getting starts. And I think
Yep.
this week is like the come to Jesus moment for that theory, considering we have Joe Burrow out now. We've got JJ McCarthy, who's not going to play. We got Carson Wentz that's going to be playing, Jake Browning. And then there is hints of potentially Marcus Mariota with Jaden Daniels' status in question. And so I
Tyrod
think just like
Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor might be starting for Justin Fields, who's in the Conkey protocol as well. Yeah. So it is a bit of a wasteland in the quarterback market out there, Jackson. Our guy Derek Fuchs
There you go. I was
shouted
going
you
to
out
mention that.
on Twitter today just about how he went to go pick up Jake Browning, and our boy Jax Falcone has Jake Browning in every league that Derek could get him in. And yeah, just kind of proof positive that theory is one that you need to abide by in Dynasty Superflex.
Yeah.
Even if you have a couple of stud quarterbacks, maybe you have a Mahomes and Lamar somehow, or something like that. Maybe like a Justin Herbert and Lamar or something like that. Keep stacking those guys underneath. Always be stacking those guys underneath, because Jax could be putting feelers out on the market this week for Jake Browning for those needy teams, and he could get a lot more than he would have gotten otherwise.
And the main reason for that is that a lot of people are rostering people like Jake Bobo or whatever. And, if JSN gets hurt, they're not going to elevate Bobo to the JSN role where he's getting 28% target share. That's just not going to happen. But at the quarterback position, they're literally going to elevate Carson Wentz to run all the plays for the Minnesota Vikings. Like, he's going to run all of them. Same thing with Browning. Same thing with all these guys. Like, yes, they may not be as productive, obviously, otherwise they'd be starting. But in some cases, actually, like the Jameis effect, you actually get a more productive fantasy player, maybe not as effective, real life player, but you get a real good run. Browning was really good. Wentz was once almost league MVP. I'm sure he's well past his prime. I'm not suggesting that he's going to walk in and be an MVP, but this is not some shitbag. You know what I mean? And so I think it's crazy. When I saw Wentz, he was like, even in sleeper leagues, he was like 3%, rostered. And across sleeper leagues, before he found a team, I'm like, well, if he was on a team, he's obviously going to be the backup. Like, why wouldn't you pick this guy up? So I picked him up everywhere. And then when he finally signed, everybody was like, oh, Jax has him. Of course I have. Like, why don't we have him rostered? If you're in a super flex league, this is like the easiest answer. And yeah, sometimes you don't get return on these guys. It's, you try to trade them and they're like, screw it, I'm just going to cobble it together. I don't want to pay you a fucking piece of profit because you're an asshole. Of course they're going to say that, right? And I would be the same if I were, rostering my roster and I lost Burrow. I wouldn't want to go by, Browning. I wouldn't want to do that. But if I had to and my team was good and it made sense, I'd pay a small profit for it. So I think the other part of this now is phase 2, which is don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. A 2-3 swap is plenty. A 2 is huge. A 3 is probably fine. So anywhere in there for getting paid for a backup quarterback, yeah, is it worth more to them than maybe a third? Probably. But you weren't really going to get that at any other time other than now. So pounce, move on, and take your profit.
Yeah, I'll say as it pertains to the Bengals, I'm not that concerned. Obviously, it's a downgrade, but the key elements are sort of still in place. It's still a super consolidated target tree where it's just going to be Chase and Higgins for the most part, right? And some tertiary pieces. I pulled this off of Dwayne McFarland's utilization report, where he said there were 8 games where Browning played at least 70% of the game, and Chase basically averages 15.9 points a game with Browning in there. And Higgins averages around 17.7 points. So actually Higgins, Browning has eyes for Higgins. Now, granted, small sample, so we don't know if that stuff's going to hold. But what I like about Browning is he's not afraid to chuck it. And when you got a backup quarterback in there, they lock on to the number 1 wide receiver, right? Well, here he's got 2 alphas to lock on to. So I think it's going to be fine. Exactly what we saw. Yes, there are going to be picks, but hell, that might actually be better for wide receiver production because they'll be digging out of a hole. So it's not a huge problem for them. It's obviously a downgrade in efficiency and all of that, but I'm not super worried. I'm not hitting the panic button on Chase and Higgins. But if Browning goes down and it's 3 months till Burrow, then we're in serious trouble.
Mhm.
Yeah, great point. I think it's right. I mean, slight downtick for all the skill positions. Probably Chase Brown even more so, I guess, because they're less likely to be ahead and milking away. Although they can get him involved in the pass game, then that kind of changes. But he hasn't really been. So that's kind of why I think Chase Brown's a little bit of a downtick. But yeah, all of them are basically who we thought they were, except a little less potentially. I mean, you just have, instead of Chase being the clear one overall, he's just a top 6 wide receiver or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to our guy, Dan Bradley, AWL Sabermetrics, had a tweet today that the Bengals should call the Giants about Jameis Winston. Could you
Ooh.
imagine Jameis hucking it to Jamar Chase and T.
Bro.
Higgins? That
Oh.
we could use that in our lives. There's a lot of
And
terrible
he could
things
play the
happening around the
Browns.
world.
You know,
Yeah.
he could play the Browns. That'd be great.
The Giants are kind of executing the Jax hoarding quarterback strategy right now. I think it's
No
probably going to
shit.
pay off.
No shit. They're going to cash on Jameis pretty soon here. Yeah.
Bro, just for the record, did you see that Dallas Giants game? I mean, holy
It's-
Oh
smokes.
my god.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable. So
That's crazy.
cool. Malik Neighbors. I mean, come on.
Mhm.
I-
We'll get there. We'll get
Okay.
there.
Is it on the
I
show
want to
sheet?
talk.
I glance
I
at that.
want to talk. I want to talk about a team that
Hmm.
might need to be calling the Giants about Jameis as well, not just
Uh-oh.
the Bengals. The Jacksonville Jaguars have a problem, boys.
Oof.
yes.
Trevor Lawrence has been a fucking problem, boys. Now,
Yeah.
I will say I think we talked a little bit about BTJ just being absolute dirt napped last week because he didn't get very many catchable targets. This week was better, so I'll give Trevor that just a smidgen. BTJ got like 73% catchable targets. And I will say for BTJ specifically, because we were obviously going to parlay the Trevor conversation into the wide receivers, he had a rough game too. I don't know if you guys have seen the clips.
Yes,
But
I'm so
there
glad
was
you
a
mentioned this.
lot of lazy play on his part where he wasn't running through his route where he could have made these catches. And he embarrassingly avoided contact on multiple plays in that
Yes.
game, where it's like you walk into that locker room and it's probably hard to make eye contact with your boys after doing that, because those are catches that a wide receiver one needs to go up for and put his body on the line for. And he was ducking, like flail ducking. It was bad. It was
Agree
bad. So
1,000%.
Jax, you can kind of carry off.
No,
of
no,
that,
I'm so glad you did a really good job of saying what it is, man. He does have to go up and put his body on the line. I mean, he's also not Lad McConkey. He's Brian Thomas Jr. This is a big dude. This is 6'3", 2 something. Like, he's a big guy. He can throw his hip in there. You know what I mean? Like, he can actually throw his weight around. I agree 1,000%. I really, saw glimpses of the game and thought that Trevor just wasn't delivering it to him, and then I saw the box score, thought that, and then I watched the game today and I saw that cut up, and I've got, I'm 100% turned around now, and I think Trevor was better than we think he was, and BTJ was way worse than we thought he could ever be.
Yeah. What's alarming to me is like BTJ is like a famously kind of quiet guy. Like he's sort of always been thus far in his short career, like kind of a no nonsense guy that doesn't talk a lot, right? Not flashy or talkative like in post games or what have you. What we just saw him is talking through his actions, and what his actions are telling me, and this ties back to Trevor Lawrence. It's kind of like we were talking about last week with the Bears and DJ Moore last year. Is like, dude's kind of given up on Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's getting targeted. If you see his number of targets, it's
12
fine.
last week.
Huh?
He had
12.
Yeah,
so he's getting targeted, but it's like the targets are just bad and the production is way down. And it's almost like he's like, what are we even doing here? I'm not like, he's not willing to do it for this guy, right? I think it's a Trevor Lawrence problem.
I think that's bullshit.
I mean, granted,
I think
not
that's
an acceptable-
bullshit too. I agree. Thank you so much, Trav.
Oh,
please,
I'm not saying
Catch
it's
those balls and
okay.
help your team win, man. Like if you're not
Oh.
catching those balls, you're part of the problem. So don't be
I
bitching about it.
agree. I agree. I'm not making excuses for
Joe, I
him.
know you're not.
I'm saying I'm saying what I think is happening, which is
In
like
his
he's
head or
given up
something?
on like he's given up on Lawrence.
Well,
That's my
You
read.
can't let that play out on the field, and you're only in
That's
your
right.
second year, bud. Yes, you
Totally.
had a good rookie year, but
Yeah.
help take this team to that promised land. You should be a part of this team going to the promised land. You should make Trevor better.
I think
No,
it
no.
was Ian Hartitz. Did you see Ian Hartitz's tweet about the passer rating when targeted for this team for the season? It's like everybody's above 100 except for BTJ and Travis Hunter, who are at like 50 and like 40, like the lowest possible, So yeah, I think there is something to that. He does have to bail out his quarterback. Everybody else is kind of getting it done, actually. De'Ami Brown ain't quitting on that dude.
Oh, Diami, boys.
Look good, man.
I'm not going to get
He
started, but I'm
did, man.
fired up about that. He looks so good. He's the wide receiver 2 on that team, boys.
That may be true, brother. That may be true, brother.
Sorry, a little Diami tangent there got me hot and bothered.
Mm.
But yeah, it's got to be a collective effort, man. And like a year and 2 games into your career, and you're giving up on the quarterback, like it's got to be better than that. So I don't know what's going on in that locker room, but they got to figure some shit out because Trevor's a better quarterback than we've seen, and these weapons can be a lot better than we've seen for fantasy so far.
You guys selling BTJ?
No, if anything, I'm buying.
Could be a buy. I think like he's so talented, man. He is so talented. You just that early in his career, you got to buy the talent. If he's like an 8-year vet and he's doing this, I don't know if I'm buying based off the talent anymore because I don't think he can just ride it off of the talent. But off of talent alone, BTJ is dope. Fire a couple off.
Let me put Joe to the test.
Okay,
I'll do something that I did with Danny Kelly today to see if you agree or disagree. What about Brian Thomas Jr. or Zay Flowers, Bashal Tootin in a second?
Oof, this one depends on my team. I think I'm taking Brian Thomas Jr. still, though. Okay.
Emeka Buka in a second.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
I think I'm taking the Buka side on that one.
So good. Lad McConkey shows up straight up in your inbox for Brian Thomas Jr. You snapping that?
Yeah, I think I am.
So I guess what I'm getting at is that's a slight fade to Brian Thomas's original Dynasty value, right? So it's close. I was playing around with some of these. Those are the ones that, obviously, what about like you give up Brian Thomas Jr. in 2 seconds for Puka?
I think I would do that.
Yeah. What about Brian Thomas Jr. in a first for Puka? Would you give up that?
No.
You're a good team. You're a playoff team. It's going to be a late 26 first.
Listen, it's 2 games. We're not going to just completely write it off. The thing
we're thinking about him though. We're thinking about him.
Like seeing a dude give up in a game like that is like it's a red flag for like the mentals, right?
Yeah.
That's a red flag. So hopefully it's just like a bad day. But let me give you guys some stats. So I pulled every receiver minus these 2 Monday night games, wide receiver or tight end that had at least 30 routes run, whose targets per route run was at least 20% or higher. And then I sorted it by yards per route run. Not surprisingly, there are 48 players. Okay. Not surprisingly, 47 Travis Hunter, 48 Brian Thomas. Travis Hunter's at 1.1 yards per route run, and Brian Thomas is at 0.9 yards per route run. That's with a 25% first read target distribution. So I don't know. It's weird. Trevor is missing them pretty badly. And, obviously I think that's just the source of frustration, but it's not like an acceptable attitude to have to, what you guys were saying, but it's like bad. And it's the Trevor problem, which is kind of where we started this conversation from. Right.
So you guys remember like when we did our scouting, like what's a good contested catch rate, like above 50%, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're below 50, you're 30, 40, you're not very good. If you're above 50, you're pretty good. Right now, he is 1 for 6 on contested catches so far this season is Brian Thomas.
Yeah, that's not great.
I mean, so I'm just saying, like, he's throwing it to him and he's not converting. And in some of those, he did grow alligator arms and sort of shy away from the football. Does that happen for the rest
Both
of the
of them.
season?
Both of them.
Exactly. Both of them.
It's both of them.
Yeah, both of them. I love it. It's true, man. I'm like, what is that?
It's a
What
little
are you
scary.
doing?
And I want to just give a little bit of a shout out to, well, to all of us, but all of the followers and listeners, because I did a Dynasty rankings update today. Find that at theundroppables.com. And Brian Thomas Jr. did move down 3 spots. I have him as my Dynasty wide receiver 6, boys. And he's back to Dynasty wide receiver 9. You guys know I was bullish going into the season, though, even though Hunter
dropped him to 6. I'm like, whoa.
No. I dropped him from 6 to 9.
Yeah.
So yeah, he moved back, and then even then, I could make a case for him to go to 10 as well. So very, very interesting watch there in Jacksonville. Hold fast, because the talent is there, and we sometimes like to rely on talent. It just seems like with Liam Cohen, this should be a fucking perfect storm, and it's not.
Speaking of talent, Marvin Harrison Jr. or Brian Thomas Jr. in Dynasty?
Brian Thomas Jr. for sure.
Yeah, still BTJ.
It's close. Garrett Wilson.
That's
I have Nico Collins, like right.
Nico's 10, BTJ is 9 for me. Tet's just shortly behind there. Yeah, it's close.
Tet looked really good. I mean, I don't know. Look, I think there's a few ways to get off Brian Thomas Jr. if you're feeling a little heebie-jeebies, and I don't think that you're necessarily going to need to sell low. I think the value is still he's a top 10. I think people will feel that. They might be like, oh, he's not, doing as well. But if you're just like, dude, it's Brian Thomas Jr. You want him or not? You know what I mean? I think you can just get value for him because of name brand. And if he does have more, fade to this, it's, you sort of save yourself. But if he comes back and he's awesome, you're still selling him at awesome prices and getting another awesome, player there. So it could be a little risk play to get off him. I wouldn't know because I have 0 shares.
I think what his optics right now are doing is making that so you can only tier down with him, and you probably can't tier up though, right?
I agree.
The guys who have those elites in the top 10 are probably not going to come off of those guys even for a plus to get BTJ, whereas you'd have an easier time tiering down for maybe, but yeah, I mean, it's close.
JJ doesn't look so good with JJ. That's not looking so good.
So wait, you guys didn't ask who's at the top of this list. Really, what I was trying to figure out when I put this list together is, who is being efficient with volume, right? So you guys want to take some guesses. This is at least 30 at least 30 routes, targets per route run at north of 20%. Who's leading in yards per route run with volume? Right. That's really, and that's kind of the takeaway for the listener, right? We're trying to figure out who's being efficient with volume.
Malik Neighbors.
Yes, Malik Neighbors is number 4 on this list right now. Again, this is excluding the 2 Monday night games.
Zay Flowers.
Just tell us.
Zay Flowers is number 1.
Yeah.
Trav, you're gonna love this. Number 2,
JSN.
None other than Tucker Kraft.
Oh yes. Tucker, it's smooth. Tucker Kraft.
As we said, he's the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. He's the number 1 target. And the actionable advice that we talked about over the summer was get bullish on Tucker Kraft because this receiving core is not that improved. Number 3.
Hold on. Do you know what else he is other than the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay? He is
lunch pail holder.
He is Jax Falcone's tight end 5 in Dynasty.
Yeah, I think I love that. I think
he's there. I think he's there too. I think my my Evan Ingram projection for this season and parlaying that into future, I think had Evan Ingram definitely at 5 for the 2025 season. I'm getting all my ranks mixed up right now. Oh, I had the rookies at 5 and 6 with Kraft at 7, but yeah, he's up there. I just did it live on the show. Publish. Done.
100%.
I like
all right, so number 3, Devontae Adams. Number 4, Malik Neighbors. This one's going to surprise you. Maybe not as much after the shootout on Sunday, but number 5, Tyreek Hill.
Wow, that is actually surprising.
Another tight end, 6 in Tyler Warren. Number 7, also going to surprise you. And this one's actually kind of interesting. Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yep.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
gonna guess Wandale. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely back from the dead. He's got a real ADOT now. He's
Yes, he
not
does.
Careful,
just
though.
he's
You gotta be
not just a
careful with
dink and
that.
dunk guy. He had 2 deep
Mm,
shots. So
2 deep
he had
shots.
he had
Yeah.
4. He had 4 deep targets in this game, boys,
I'm
I
sorry,
believe.
2 big
And
catches is what I
that's
recall.
never gonna happen for him again. So just beware. They're
I
not gonna be
disagree.
in. I don't think Wandale is gonna be a guy who's getting multiple deep shots per game. I don't think he's a guy who's designed to have this kind of ADOT. If you like, I think especially that touchdown was Russ just heaving it up to the guy that was down there. So I don't think Wandale as a deep threat is something that they plan on having.
I
So
wouldn't
I just
count
think
on it so much.
be wary of that stat line from this week is all I'm saying, to get too invested in Wandale continuing to do that, because I don't think
We
that's
are
going to
we
happen.
are trend spotting, and I think Wandale falls
We're not
into
even
the
there yet.
hold on. I think Wandale falls into the category of Jacoby Myers, where Jacoby Myers was offering us production, and yet no one would elevate him in terms of dynasty value. You may have a very similar situation with Wandale, which I know Joe is half listening because he's watching his Raiders lose. But I do think that I think Wandale, Jacoby Myers, I think that's the type of buy that Wandale is he's a productive little player that you can buy for less than you need to buy that production normally.
Yeah, I might not be quite there on Wandale building consistency just yet, but I mean, when we do look at last season, he had 130 targets or 130 plus targets, which is incredible. Same offensive scheme with Brian Dable and a better quarterback situation for Wandale. So I definitely will give you that, because it's probably costing you what, like, still off of this past week, you might not get him for a third, but
Yeah,
wait till he
people
has
are.
the down week and you might be
Yes,
able to get him for that third for
yes,
sure.
exactly.
I'm going to circle us back to Jacksonville, boys, because we're going to move into the rookie heat checks portion of the show. I think rookies are kind of a backbone of what we do here at Dynasty Underground. We spent, I can't even count how many hours this offseason digging into the spreadsheets, watching the tape. So it's time to do some heat checks and see where some of these guys are. And we were just talking about some of the bad on the
Yeah.
Jacksonville Jaguars offense, boys.
Let's
Let's talk
turn
about
let's
some of
turn
the good.
let's turn
Yeah,
Joe's mood around.
let's dig Quave out of that black hole that he's been in all night so far. We're going to talk about Bayshul Tootin. Joe, this landed exactly where you said it was last week, because if you recall last week, you said if we get a 70-30 split in favor of Travis Etienne with Bayshul Tootin, we're going to be completely happy with both of these guys. Lo and behold, just call him Quave Stradamus, because it was 66% snaps for Travis Etienne, 26% for Tootin in week 2. And before the Monday night games, Travis Etienne's the wide receiver 14 on the week, and Bayshul Tootin is the running back 16 after the stankiest receiving touchdown in the red zone that he had that week. It was a great weekend for the brand. The group chat was buzzing. Bayshul was a part of that. We rejoice, boys. How are you feeling, Joe? Tell me that digs you out.
And not only that, but exactly a 31% rush share. So even closer, even closer.
Yes.
But while we're talking about the passing and how bad Trevor Lawrence has been for his 2 superstar wide receivers, he's got a perfect QB rating when targeting one Mr. Bayshul Tootin. So maybe just throw the ball to him every time, because maybe if you're not nervous, just throw it to him. So yeah, I mean, this is exactly kind of what we were hoping for. We said that would be enough of an opportunity for Bayshul to do something with it. And then here's the next stepping stone, right? He showed us something. He certainly didn't exhibit any of the bad habits we were worried about. Now, so this game's a stepping stone, and now I expect the pie to start to grow for Bayshul, right? He can catch, and has proven he can do that pretty well. LaQuint Allen, very reliable receiver, lacks explosiveness completely. So I think it's only going to get better from here. And again, in the event of an ETN injury, this dude's got running back 1 written all over him.
I feel like a reactionary bitch over here because you guys had to save me from jumping off the Bayshul Tootin bandwagon when we started the season. And ultimately, I will tell you this though: I took 0 action. I did not sell a single share of Bayshul Tootin. I did get a little nervous. I actually just thought, hey, you might have to be patient with this. there is maybe a downside story to tell here, but the upside story is, as Joe has always said it was, and that's why we're so interested in Bashal Tutin in an offense where they pass a bunch and he can be involved in a myriad ways, especially with his explosion and long speed. It's pretty exciting. So I'm back to fully aroused about this situation. And so I go from one end to the next. I realize that it's a little bit hypocritical, but I actually don't think it is. I think it's just, that sort of, running through. Well, yeah, you kind of run through the, range of outcomes all the time, right? I'm such a range of outcomes player that I try to be, have a pro and a con when I'm sort of thinking positively. I like to think about the negative, and so, but what's up?
No, keep going, Jax. I'm going to come in after you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was just like, I try to think of all those things. And, ultimately at the end of the day, Joe kept this ship afloat and centered around the idea that Bashal was an upside play. And as soon as they traded Tank Bigsby away, everything really changed. It was clear that obviously they wouldn't do that if they didn't trust him. What did we talk about Bashal Tutin? We were talking about fumbling issues, trust issues, professionalism. Is he ready for the big time in the NFL? All these things that are not about how good he is as a player, because we were very, 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 very certain that he was dope. We knew that. We saw him play. We did great film work on him. The data showed that he was a tackle breaker and a big play player. Like all these things, even his yards per out run in college were great, even though they didn't use him that way, on and on and on. And now when they trade Bigsby, it just opens up the fact that they are, they do trust him. And boy, oh boy, I think it's wheels all the way up. So I'm with you 1,000%, brother.
Mm-hmm. With Bigsby, it's almost like what that move just tells you optically as opposed to what plays out on the field, right? That just shows you the amount of trust that they have in him to be that number 2. And I just wanted to say before Joe comes in as well, Jax, you were absolutely not wrong in doing that, because I think that's a part of the process too. Like if we're sitting here on this show and we're only telling people the upside case, I think we're doing them a disservice, right? And so that's why we need to explore those cases. And that's why we need to have those disagreements where Joe and I are like, we're still kind of in though, because that's not a huge issue, right? And so that we need to have that kind of stuff on the show to make sure that we're keeping ourselves honest and to be the best for the listener. So I just wanted to make sure I dove in there, because
it's true.
I think that's actually really good process to consider and process the downside instead of getting super attached to what that upside is. Because if it's asymmetrical, Jax, you could get burned, right?
Yeah. Great point. Great point. Joe?
Go ahead, Joe.
I mean, I already said my piece.
You said your piece. All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
Don't forget ETN's a free agent after this year.
Just
so
hold
the future's brighter.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
It's an A-chain situation.
And shout out to ETN, because ETN has looked pretty dope too. So just a big shout out to him for not being a wash too.
I think I mentioned on the program. I mentioned on the program today. You can start them both. I think.
Yeah, you definitely can. You definitely can. I got that in my column for True North too. Is that you can start these guys confidently as like Bashal's almost RB2 with 35% snaps. Like Travis Etienne is a high end running back too, and like I could easily see myself having Bashal in my top 24 in certain weeks for sure.
I'm starting Bashal basically everywhere I have him. Yes, he's
like the 20-point game is what you're after.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah. Okay, Joe, this one is definitely gonna get you from 6 to midnight. This would be one of our favorite sleeper rookie wide receivers, who we've been calling as the X wide receiver for his team, because there's not really anybody on that team yet that profiles that way. This guy got himself a touchdown on an end zone target, no less, which is what we want from our X wide receivers. That would be one Torrey Horton for the Seattle Seahawks, boys. That's almost how our group chat was. That like one of the starting points of the excitement in the text group that morning was Torrey Horton scoring the touchdown. I think I posted it on Twitter.
Absolutely. It was early in the day for sure.
Like the vibes went high early and they stayed there on Sunday for me.
It's true.
And Torrey Horton was the trigger for that. So shout out to him and shout out to you, Joe, because I know you were kind of the driver of this team, so to speak. And I'm here for it.
I mean, I'm not going to victory lap Torrey Horton just yet. It was awesome to see him score a touchdown, but like his underlying metrics are not very promising yet.
Correct.
What the usage was very interesting though, because they were really using him to be everything Cooper Kupp isn't, right? Or isn't anymore. right? They were using him to be the down the field guy and the speed guy, and that's kind of his ticket to a more consistent role on this offense. But he still only got 2 receptions. That's good for like a 12% target per route run. So he's not earning them consistently yet. He's at 0.97 yards per route run. So we got a long ways to go, but signs of life, and the opportunity. He sees the opportunity, and this is how the role grows as a rookie. I don't want to pump the brakes because I'm excited, but also we need to see more before we can count on this guy.
You know what's crazy though too is he does in the model. He sort of, I'm just picking some guys that are pretty close, but that are like stylistically, like you're like, oh yeah, this is interesting. Brian Thomas Jr., Cortland Sutton, Michael Gallup. Where's another one? Quinton Johnston, Javon Baker, you know what I mean? Terry McLaurin, these sort of Romeo Dubs, right? Dante Thornton Jr. These guys are in this ballpark where it's like, they could be good, or they could be not. When I mentioned some of those names, like, oh, that one hurt, it's like, but other ones you're like, that guy's really good. So yeah, I think there is some upside here for him. I think some of his profile not being quite what we wanted also was injury, fifth year stuff, smaller school to start, like it's not necessary. He was really, really dope, in his final season. And even leading up to his final seasons, he was really good. But, it's just interesting. I just found that interesting.
Yeah, no, I think I kind of file him in that category of what we're hoping for from Dante Thornton as well. Joe, to your point, we want to see that role increase, but really we kind of just wanted to see him get to the point where he's getting a couple of deep shots every game. And that has some upside on what the expectations were with his draft capital role, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think
That's
we're
exactly
seeing
right.
now is exactly what we want for him in his rookie season. Maybe that blossoms into something future as Cooper Kupp maybe moves on in the future, et cetera. So I think things are looking good for Torrey Horton as that stash. And I think that was just a good call, and we're super stoked about that bag.
Yep.
And Dante Thornton has a couple deep shots in this game for the Raiders as well, so that's positive. And I file those guys kind of in that same category, as that's their avenue for their roles to grow, is to show out as that guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this year's interesting because it's like Thornton, Horton, and Ayomanor all managed to carve out significant roles being 4th and 5th round rookies, which you never see 3 in a season. And like all these dudes are freaking playing, and one of them, if not 2, are going to be pretty good.
Let's talk about him. The Canadian Elic Ayomanor, looking every bit the ex wide receiver one that his profile said the top end outcome could be, right, guys? Like he is making acrobatic catches on the sideline, looks better than Ridley, looks better than any other weapon that they've got there. And Cam Ward seems to have mega trust in him. Like that throw across the field was insane. That was insane. You never make that throw, but Cam Ward made that throw and it was an absolute dime. And yeah, you like to see that trust with Cam Ward. And I moved way up in my rankings one Elic Ayomanor today. I think I moved him up like 27 spots. I think he's still in like the early to mid 40s or something like that, but that's something, because I didn't expect him to be like a wide receiver 4 in my dynasty rankings this early in the season.
This is one of those where, I think of every year I do the early February podcast with Felix Sharp. And for those of you who are listeners to my program, all know Felix Sharp, all know that every year he gives us a few, gives us Ramondre Stevenson and, Elijah Mitchell, whatever. Like he gives us these calls of deeper players that we end up going, damn, he knew what he was talking about. And Elic Ayomanor was the one that just kind of sticks in with me from him early on in the process. And then all of a sudden, Elic shows up as a wide receiver 7 in our model, I think, wide receiver 7, somewhere in there, just
very
below.
Very nice 69.
Yeah. 69 score. Absolutely. Can't beat it. Except maybe if you go 6'7", I think you can beat it. But anyway, I'm doing this for the kids. They love it. But by the way, I literally play all the 6'7" stuff I do for my 9-year-old son. I'm like, look on the pod, look what I did. He's so excited.
Can I tell you, I have no idea what that means when you say it.
I also want to say that I had to look it
Jack,
up
I'm
after
sorry.
you made the joke in the last show, and I was like, "What the hell was he even talking about right there?"
I smiled and nodded. I'm sorry. I totally smiled and nodded and didn't say anything. I'm sorry.
The fact that you guys didn't know what it was joy for me. I was like,
Okay.
this is so cool. I'm younger and hipper and cooler.
Oh,
It's
you're the
because I
cool
have a
guy.
9-year-old kid. Look, it is the 6'7". It's so cool, man. You know, I mean, it's funny as hell. I
Sounds like
would
it.
imagine it is not cool if you're like a school administrator or something like this. You know what I mean? Where these annoying ass kids are basically saying it all day long. But yeah, I don't have to worry about that. I just get to make stupid jokes with my kids, which is fun.
I love
I
it.
still haven't heard
it.
the song. I just Googled it and found out that it was some TikTok thing, and I was like, all right, that's all I need to know. I don't care.
Yeah, it's a song that they took 6'7" from the song into a TikTok thing. Both things are irrelevant to anything, but yet all of a sudden it became a thing. And once it's a thing, now that it's cool. So the thing is
it's
cool.
rampant.
The where it comes from is irrelevant and stupid.
Doesn't matter. Yeah,
it
doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, but Elic Ayomanor.
He's a thing. Yeah.
Huge riser in the Dynasty ranks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's got a shot, is I guess my point. And he's going to grow there. I've said this before. He's going to grow there with Cam Ward, and he actually could be the wide receiver 1 on that team this year. That is actually in the cards for him. And so for those reasons, I am super interested in trying to get Elic Ayomanor onto my team at some sort of whatever cost it is right now. I think it's actually a good move to go get Elic Ayomanor.
I would like to propose the notion that he is the wide receiver 1 in Tennessee right now.
Yeah.
41% air yard share at a very healthy 14.5 ADOT. Again, only 2 games, but that's 48 routes. And on those 48 routes, he's drawing a 27% targets per route run, 1.44 yards per route run. I mean, the offense is inefficient. They haven't been getting many yards. So I expect that number to increase and get better because he's definitely got like the yak ability. And Calvin Ridley has never really been the alpha people like to think he was before the suspension or the break from football. Like he never was that guy.
Atlanta.
Yeah,
since back to Atlanta.
Yeah, he's probably better off having like an X on the team that actually can draw targets and attention away from him. So I don't know if Ayomanor I still don't know how to say his name. Is benefiting from Ridley or vice versa, but I know which one I would rather have in Dynasty and probably redraft. I started him in one league in a redraft league this week. It was awesome.
Nice. The glory on those ones. I fucking love that. I love that. Yeah, it looks really good. And I've never thought that Calvin Ridley should be a wide receiver 1 for an NFL team. Always thought he was a better second fiddle. And him being used as an alpha, like in like the downfield role, was never great, but they got that guy now and it seemed pretty lucrative. So, and I mean, Cam Ward seems like he wants to push the ball downfield too, which is really good.
Can we talk about another guy that's the number 1 on his team now? I was in a bad mood, but you guys are starting to cheer me up here.
Carry on, Joe.
You're welcome, buddy.
I'm going to slide in with my new running back 1 on his team after you.
Oh, well, we might be talking about the same guy. Oh, wait, no, we're not.
No, we're not.
So can we just, we were worried after the injury in training camp that it was going to take, I believe I said, instead of it happening in week 2, it's going to happen in week 5. Well, it happened in week 2 for one, Mr. Cam Skattebo, who clocked in 51% of the snaps, 55% of the running back, the rush attempts, and 42% of the routes run from the position. And not only that, we saw the dude we saw in college.
Yep.
Right? There was question, is this going to translate?
Of course.
We saw a beast mode run. I called it a scatter mode run. And then he took it like 30 yards, he got tackled at the 1, then punched it in. The next play or 2 plays later, right? So goal line back, receiver, tackle breaker, tough to bring down, and it all translated. Dude, this guy, I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped that the college Skattebo is the dude we're getting.
Yeah.
There's still questions about the offense and the offensive line, but this is a hit. This is a big time hit.
Yep.
I have to confess, I totally missed, and not missed as in I don't have any Scatabo. I think I have a couple shares of them, but I was the doubter that was wondering whether it was going to translate. And no, it wasn't because of his lunch pail, because I love him for his lunch pail. Jax, you tried to pin that on me, sir. You remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that?
I think it's a subliminal lunch pail. That's the problem for you.
Wow,
You can't
no,
see through it. You
no.
love the lunch
Now-
pail so much, it circles back around to hate.
It's
Nope.
a Yeti lunch pail, baby. It's a Yeti lunch pail.
But yeah, he looked pretty damn good. I haven't watched the whole game, so I haven't seen like every snap that he was in, but I've seen the highlights and I liked it. I liked that he got it down to the 1, and then Dable decided to give him that goal line carry to get that touchdown as well. So I'll give it to you guys. It looks like he's being used in some of the passing game as well. Tyrone Tracy did out-target him 5-3 in this game. So I still think there is going to be some split. We're not going to have a full bell cow situation. That's just philosophy for some coaches. You know what I mean? Sometimes the running back can't help that. But yeah, I think Scatabo looked like he can, or like he has what it takes to be the A in that 1A, 1B situation for. So you guys got me on that one. You guys got me on that one.
Tyrone Tracy is the perfect complementary back to a Cam Scatabo type of backfield. Like this backfield is actually awesome. I still like Tyrone Tracy quite a bit.
Yep.
But everything I suspected, like this guy's going to endear himself to the fans. He's going to endear himself to the coaching staff. Just his style of play, it's just going to get the team amped up, right? This is like anyways, I'm over the moon about Cam.
Okay, if I could give a shout out to Scott Barrett and the Fantasy Points crew for their nickname for Cam Scatabo, because it's absolutely incredible. Just to harken back to his all-around skill set and a previous legendary Hall of Fame back, they call him Marshall Chalk.
It's so good. It's so good.
Marshall Chalk. Like, unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. So hats
good.
off to the boys over there. We love them. Jax, 2 cents on the bow.
2 cents. I mean, 2 cents is that we did say all those things that, and I agreed with everything that Joe had said. So, I mean, for me, I feel like I'd just be ringing the same bell, but it's like, the tackle breaking, I mentioned it. It's like David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, guys that I actually overlooked in the past, because they didn't necessarily have this athletic profile. He profiles pretty closely to those guys. He's actually very similar in size. I think he's actually a little shorter than a couple of those guys. He looks at, I think he was on his tippy toes at the combine, but he's probably 5'9". I don't think he's this 5'10" plus guy, but nonetheless, I like that he's cheating at that too. Go for it, boy. You know what I mean? Like he's a dog. He's fighting for every inch.
Dog.
Even when he's on the scale, he's like, push down on something. He's got rocks in his pockets. This kid's going
the old
for
Daniel
it
Cormier.
Cormier.
Yes,
exactly. Pushing down the scale. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, all these things are just, he's just that guy. And it's one of those things where you look at it and how can they not? Like they can't put that genie back in the bottle is kind of the point. Like you just can't. He's a legend in New York, and he's going to get a lot of playing time. He's going to be cool.
Absolutely. And Joe, you will be happy to know you got my juices flowing earlier today when you gave us a bit of a half take about him. And he is just outside of my top 20 running backs with only room to move up. So I have risen on one Cam Scatabo. But now it's time for my pants to come off, boys. Hope that's okay, because they're coming all the way off for one Quinshon Judkins. And it's not to do with the stat line that he had. It wasn't great in week 2. It was more just the fact that we saw the hints of it. Just like you're talking about with Scatabo, not to the degree that we saw Scatabo, because Scatabo actually had some big plays, but Quinshon Judkins looks like he has got the juice, boys. He out-touched Dylan Sampson 13-7. Dylan Sampson did salvage his day with a garbage time receiving touchdown from Dylan Gabriel, I will add, which was of note. Quinshon had 6 yards per carry on 10 totes. Jerome Ford was heavily involved in this game, like way more than we thought he was going to be once Quinshon and Sampson were back, but I think that will start to fade. Judkins had 26% snaps, Sampson 25%, and Jerome Ford 48.6%. Especially on third down where he got 6 targets. So we want to monitor that because we kind of want Sampson to move into that role and then Quinshon to take on more of the first and second with a little bit of targets. But it'll happen, boys. It'll happen. The team only had 3 red zone snaps on the entire day. It was not a great game for the Browns, obviously, in a blowout against the Ravens. And Quinshon didn't get any of those red zone snaps yet, but only 3 on the day. So I'm not really counting that for much. I think Quinshon has running back 1 upside. I don't have him ranked there just yet. I just want to see him be consistent as not a knucklehead more so than anything. But what are you guys thinking? Like, is my preseason steam well-founded at this point? Are we back where we were before all of the shenanigans, or what do you think?
I'm pretty sold, right? Speaking of things that translated, right? He looked awesome. Everything I was worried about had nothing to do with play on the field, right? It was all the other stuff that happened. Like, I was juiced about this guy before July. He did have a big play. He had a 31-yard run in there, right?
Yep.
And that's, and that's like exactly what we wanted to see. And then like the rest, yeah, it was a grind against Baltimore. I really actually think that was more on Flacco than anything. I think he had like a horrendous
Really bad,
game.
yeah.
Like, to the point where I'm like, oh man, we might be seeing Gabriel sooner rather than later. And that might not be a bad thing for this offense. We'll see. I'm sure they're going to give Flacco another crack at this thing, but that, that chain just got a lot shorter. That leash, I should say.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, I'm pumped about Judkins. I don't have any, unfortunately, but I'm happy for you, Trav. And I think he's the dude we thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I agree with all that too. That's exactly correct. Yes. I love.
And boys, I have to be honest, this isn't the last time we're going to be really happy for me on the show, but I'm not going to steal all of the thunder. We're going to move into trend spotting, some things that we're seeing across the landscape that we feel need to be spoken about. Joe, why don't you throw us the first one that we need to talk about?
I don't know where to start here. What about one? Let's just stick to running backs. What about one Mr. Javonte Williams?
There you go.
So, I mean, there's just a lesson here, right? And I talked about it earlier, right? With these rookie running backs that aren't getting a chance right away, you want to always be taking cracks at veterans as well that you can get for cheap. I got Javonte this year in a draft where I just traded back like 2 spots. Right, and got Javonte Williams. That's how low it had gotten. I was like, this is probably the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys. He's as good as Rico Dowdle, at least, right? No, it turns out he's way better than Rico Dowdle. The offense is better this year. Blue isn't even suiting up. And here's the most important thing about Javonte. He looks like a different dude. He looks like he has some juice. He was making guys miss. He was hurdling guys. Like, I just saw a different version of Javonte than I've seen in quite some time. So, like, I don't know. I think this guy's probably like an RB2 right now, at least.
Well, lest we forget, he was awesome. I mean, coming out of North Carolina, he was awesome. He was,
great profile.
Early 2nd round pick. I mean, all of it, pass catching too has been the big thing. And he's been finding the end zone, which of course helps in fantasy. So yeah, I was driving on my, just before the games on Sunday, and I got a trade offer. I kind of was able to see what it was, but I wanted to make sure I looked at it, and it was Javonte for the 2-3 pick swap, and he obviously sent it to multiple people, because by the time I like parked and wanted to take the trade, someone else had taken the exact trade, and it was kind of brutal. I wanted to get Javonte for the 2-3 pick swap. That would have been nice.
Yeah, totally. I wrote in my column for True North this week just that he is somebody you can be happy to slot in with your running back 2 role right now, and if he keeps getting the 7 targets like he got in that game, we could have like a back end running back 1 from week to week on our hand, boys. So
totally.
Yeah, the usage is fantastic. Yeah. I think he's a top 5 running back right now in all formats. So
yeah,
good on Javonte.
The catching is the real key to that. Yeah, that's the secret sauce. Touchdowns and receptions. Who'd have thought?
Let's stick with running backs, boys, because you had a nice little pun in the chat there, Joe. Ken Walker strikes back. I'm not a Star Wars guy, but even I knew where that came from. And Kenneth Walker did strike back this week. He way outproduced Zach Charbonnet on around the same amount of totes. And so that's a positive sign for him getting more of that work. The Seahawks offense has just been a little bit interesting in general. But I think positive signs for Ken Walker. Jax, are you seeing the same thing? Do you think that maybe we caught a little bit of a buy window for Ken Walker, or is it kind of gone already?
I mean, I tried, man. In a couple leagues, I had DK on. I mentioned on Undrafted. Literally, this off season, this past week before week 2, I'm in a pretty, good league with him, and I sent him 2 seconds for Ken Walker, and he declined. I thought that was a pretty strong offer because I don't know how many people are sending an offer for a first after week 1. Probably nobody on planet Earth was sending a first, but 2 seconds is almost like a first, isn't it? Snap that, baby. Take it. And he did not. And then Ken Walker goes out and has a pretty big day. But I thought it was going to be a nice, cheap running back purchase for me. And so, yeah, I tried in a few other leagues, but to no avail. But, yeah, just sort of stay the course with Ken Walker. I had tweeted this week, this is a great time to go buy Ken Walker. I had a few people saying, no, it's not, you idiot. Well, it is because he's good. This is one of those situations, and the underlying usage, was okay, but it was not as bad as it looked. It looked like he got completely outplayed and benched by Charbonnet in week 1. They basically split it. You know what they did this week? They basically split it. But it just turned out this week that Ken Walker was way, way, way better than Charbonnet was. I mean, it was not even close. I rewatched the game today. Ken Walker looked great. And if he's coming off some sort of an injury and they're slow walking him, as they literally said they were going to do, then the upside still resides with Ken Walker, not with Charbonnet.
Bingo.
Yeah. And not only that, I mean, just in terms of the breakdown between these two, right? Walker is and always has been the upside play, right? Charbonnet is a success rate running back, right? He's
Right.
a dude that's not going to lose yards, right? And he's going to usually just gain a couple, right? But I was worried about his fit in this scheme, and he looked great last week. And I was, I thought I was eating some crow. But then this week, kind of my concerns surfaced a little bit. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is the dude this offense is catered to. So I kind of expect that to be the case more often than not. Good for you if you sold high on Charbonnet and or bought low on Ken Walker. I expect this split probably to continue. We have no reason to believe that it won't. And that might not even be a bad thing for Ken Walker from like a health standpoint and a longevity standpoint this season because he gets injured so much. And you just got to hope for the boom weeks, which he can absolutely deliver.
Yep, he showed that this week, even on lesser work, and we'd like to see it for Ken Walker. He was my guy running back this year, so I'm stoked on that. Jax, I know you got one that's really, really fun for the brand. Like talk about pants off in the group chat, boys. If we could have seen each other, if we were on a video chat, it might have been just full nudity. It might have been full nudity on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is, I mean, we're in a year 2 wide receiver. Yeah, I mean, let's take our pants off right now. Is that what we're trying to get at? I mean, let's do it.
All right.
But thank God this is a neck up show. I mean, I don't normally wear pants for the show. I don't know if you guys know this. So, normally I don't. But yeah, no, the Troy Franklin situation is just so exciting. It's different than just he scored a touchdown or he made a big play or things of that nature that sometimes people can think, maybe this isn't real. We look at the utilization plus the results, and the results are good, no doubt, but the utilization is what we're really excited about. He ran just under 30 routes in each of the first 2 games. I mentioned that in his rookie year, he on way less routes, he only earned about 18.5% target rate. He was up at 27% this year so far. He was well above that this past game, about 30 something percent, 33% or something like that, 32%. So he is earning targets and playing a lot. Boy, oh boy, that is it. Now, what I've seen too here is 2 changes from last year. Number one, he's basically flip-flopped. He went from about 30% in the slot last year to about 60% this year, where he was 60% out wide last year. He's now 30% out wide, basically. So he's playing more out of the slot. And the other thing is that he's being targeted more closely to the line of scrimmage to get him some easy stuff. It's not super close. He's got about he does have a 7.7 ADOT, so about 8 ADOT. That's great. That's right where we want. Maybe a little bit more, but that's okay. He is at 2.38 yards per route run. Just really, really cool stuff. So he's actually playing as well as we could hope for, and I couldn't be happier because I have a ton of Troy Franklin, and it's sort of one of those prideful moments for me because, I didn't develop this UN score wide receiver model. I just saw as we built it, and as, Wiz, who's, obviously going to come back and join us someday, but, Jay, Coder, myself, and Chalk, we all sort of put this thing together. And when we sort of put it, when we ran it, the results were so cool. We're like, wow, this thing's amazing. And then Troy Franklin pops in it, and you're kind of like, okay. And then he goes fourth round, and you still sort of wonder, what's going on. But this is sort of a victory for that, just a small one. I know he's maybe not a superstar. We can throw some cold water on the take, but just the fact that he's kind of getting there and earning targets at the NFL level was kind of what we anticipated from the jump, and it never happened last year, and it's happening now. So I'm excited.
So I think you're underselling it.
I love this. I love you, Joe. I love you.
All right. So that, I believe it was their third offensive drive, is basically when Troy Franklin took over the game. He absolutely dominated that drive, but he took over the game. Like, we saw the moment Troy Franklin became the wide receiver 1 in Denver. Now, I may be getting over my skis, but he was in on 85% of the snaps. That was like close to, you were saying if we could get Mims to something close to an 80% snap share, like it's wheels up, right? Well, he never did it. Troy Franklin just did it. That was the most on the team. 27 routes, most on the team. 9 targets, most on the team. 8 catches, most on the team. 89 yards and a touchdown, both, the most on the team. So far this season, he's at 2.61 yards per route run, and his target per route run is at 29.4%. I don't know if that number is going to hold, especially in a Sean Payton offense. His ADOT's at like just about 12. Air yard share at 41%. I mean, and you hit the nail on the head with the slot rate, right? I've got 51%, but I think we just saw sort of a shift happen. Not to mention, don't forget, this is Bo Nix's binky from college.
I have it just right? on passing plays, not on running plays.
Oh, got it. Yeah. So, and Bo Nix and Troy Franklin, have the shower narrative, as our friends over at ETR like to say, right? Like, so I don't know. I think Franklin is a screaming buy. I think buy high. I was said on last week's show, I'm trying to buy Troy Franklin. I was texting you guys about this trade. I was trying to just Trojan horse Troy Franklin into, right? I'm still buying Troy Franklin, and I'm saying buy high. That just, this is taking off. And, I couldn't be happier about the model. This is a huge also victory lap and W for the team.
So, boys, like Joe, I think you might have even undersold it a little bit too, on top of Jax's minor undersell. Just a touch. I know I poured some cold water last week, but that's because both Mims and Troy Franklin were right around 50% route share. That 85% route share was the signal we needed. Not only that, we saw Cortland Sutton. I didn't watch this game yet, boys, but did he get hurt or something? Because he didn't even run 60% of the team's routes.
He was getting
Franklin had 85%. So just a couple things that I want to add on there too, Jax, because you beat me to the numbers point, and then Joe, you beat me again to it. Jax, our numbers were actually a little bit higher than yours, so there was a bit undersell there. Different sources are always a little bit different. It is what it is. But yeah, Joe, you failed to mention that 0.29 targets per route run is currently 6th best among all wide receivers who have 25 routes on the season. You failed to mention that those 2.61 yards per route run are 12th best of all wide receivers so far throughout the season. Obviously a small sample size, but it's all we got right now, and so we're using it. On top of that, almost 35% of the team's entire receiving yards is 12th best among those wide receivers, and he is tied for the league lead with Jonnu Smith and Jackson Smith in Jigba with 5 designed targets. Those are the only 3 guys that have 5, and he's one of them. So we're back way up. Jax, last week you told me that one day I'll have trust in the model. It was never not trusting the model. I always trusted the model. I just didn't trust Sean Payton. And if he's going to continue to do this, I trust that Troy Franklin is going to make it no decision for Sean Payton. He has to do this. And the production is saying that so far. So
let's go.
It's up, boys. It's up.
Thank God we took our pants off.
Yeah.
boys, I'm throwing my headphones around here like it's crazy. It's getting
Well
wild
worth
in here. It's getting wild in here. Okay, so 2 more to finish. And again, pants are coming back off, but I think that might be inappropriate to, talk about your kin and take your pants off. So maybe I shouldn't go that route on this one, boys. But I just think that, like, mama knows. You know what I mean? And last
Not
week, like,
kid.
I went in on it a little bit last week. I'll be honest, boys. I did go in on it. I wasn't super convicted just because of the Caleb Williams problem. But we're there. Mama's motherfucking there this week, boys, because Odunze is officially the Chicago Bears wide receiver one. And all you haters out there who said that he might not even be the 3rd target on the team can fucking suck it. All you haters out there that said he could only be an outside boundary X wide receiver can suck it on top of his 30-something% slot play. He's top 12 in most categories for wide receivers. He's got 38% of the team's receiving yards. Look at what he's doing against the other wide receivers. He's the only guy with more than 1.6 yards per route run, boys, and he's got like 2.16. And he's almost got 4 yards after the catch per reception, boys. So I was obviously a little bit biased, being that this is my motherfucking son. But the tea leaves was talking, and I listened, and it's paying off for me, boys, because Rome is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL this year. I ranked him as my wide receiver 18 coming into the season. He is up to my wide receiver 14 in Dynasty. Suck it, haters.